My parents laughed at my art and denied I was their child. At their anniversary, I flipped the script and shattered their world. My parents spent 26 years telling everyone I wasn't really their daughter. At their anniversary party, I finally gave them what they wanted. I'm Diana. I'm 26, and I make sculptures for a living. My brother Marcus? He's the golden child, lacrosse star, MBA, perfect wife. Gave them grandkids early. Me, I was the family joke. It started when I was 8 years old. We're sitting in this nice restaurant, and I ordered chicken instead of steak. My dad looks at my mom looks at the waiter, and she says, loud enough for 3 tables to hear, "Well, that proves it. She's definitely adopted." Everyone laughed, except me. That became their thing. Every school event, every family gathering, every single time someone new met me. The hospital must have switched babies. Our real daughter would have been a cheerleader. No kid of mine would rather read than play baseball. They thought it was the funniest thing in the world. At Marcus's wedding, my dad's speech literally included the line, "At least we got one kid right." The whole room laughed. My Aunt Helen didn't. But the worst? The absolute worst was when I won a regional art competition. Huge deal for my career. The presenter is congratulating my parents and my mom. I swear to God, my mom says, "We're still not entirely convinced she's ours, but if she is, then yes, we're proud." The room went silent. But my dad? He doubles down. "Yeah, we keep expecting her biological parents to show up someday." That's when I decided, if they want to play this game, I'll show them exactly what it feels like. They were planning this massive 30th anniversary party. 50 guests, professional photographer, the works. They asked me to give a speech. I said yes. I spent 3 weeks preparing. I called Aunt Helen for old family photos. Found pictures of my mom before she was pregnant where she looked different. Got my dad's college yearbook, showing hazel eyes instead of the blue he always claimed was our family trait. I taught myself basic photo editing. The night arrived. We're at this beautiful venue. Everyone's dressed up, phones everywhere. Someone compliments my parents on raising 2 successful children. My mom smiles and points at me. "Well, 1.5. We're still not sure about that one." Marcus gives his speech first. Perfect, heartfelt, everything they wanted. Then it's my turn. I start off thanking everyone for coming. Then I say I need to address something that's bothered me my entire life. The room gets quiet. I explain that my parents have joked for 26 years about me not being theirs. And I finally figured out why. Because they were right. I wasn't their biological daughter. I pull out the photos, the pre-pregnancy picture, the yearbook with the different eye color. I mention how neither of them has any artistic ability, but my biological grandmother, who died before I was born, was a painter. The silence is deafening. My mom's face drains of all color. My dad starts to stand up. I keep going. This explains why they never bonded with me. Why they could joke about me not being theirs, because they knew. I thank them for raising me anyway. I say I understand why they favored Marcus. My mother starts crying. My dad stands up. "That's absurd. Of course you're our daughter." Aunt Helen is trying not to smile in the corner. Very slowly I hold up an envelope. I open it. Inside are completely blank sheets of paper. I let them fall to the floor one by one. I look directly at my parents. I made it all up. The photos were edited. The eye color was fake. The grandmother was a lie. Every single piece of evidence was completely fabricated. 2 seconds of absolute silence. Then my mother screams. My dad lunges forward, knocking his chair over, coming at me with this look of pure rage and hurt. Phones come out everywhere. Everyone's recording. My mom is screaming, crying, calling me every name she can think of. Guests are standing up, some backing toward the exits. Marcus is frozen, mouth open, face completely white. Helen grabs my arm hard and pulls me toward the side exit. My dad is pushing through people. shouting that I'm dead to him, that I'm no longer his daughter, that he never wants to see me again. Helen drags me through the hallway to the parking lot. I'm sweating, shaking, my teeth are chattering. She gets me to my car, takes my keys because I dropped them twice. She tells me to drive to her house. I can't be alone. I somehow make it to her place. She sits me on her couch and brings me tea. That's when I start crying. The ugly kind where you can't breathe. When I can finally talk, everything comes pouring out. The restaurant at 8 years old. The Thanksgiving announcement at 12. The time they told my prom date, I probably wasn't theirs. The award ceremony. They always made me feel like a mistake. My ex-boyfriend Ethan actually left me because he couldn't handle parents who treated their child like that. My phone starts buzzing. I pull it out. The screen is flooded with notifications. Marcus's name over and over. My cousin Sarah, Aunt Patricia, Uncle Richard, people from the party. The family group chat is exploding. I open Marcus's texts. What were you thinking? Mom is hysterical. Dad punched a hole in the wall. How could you do this? What is wrong with you? Aunt Patricia sent a long message calling me cruel, selfish, ungrateful. The buzzing continues until I turn off the phone. Helen asks me the question I've been avoiding. Did you plan this to hurt them or to make them understand how much they hurt you? I say the second thing, but sitting there, I realize I don't actually know. Maybe it was both. Maybe I wanted them to hurt the way they hurt me. I'd spent weeks on this, edited photos, crafted my narrative, rehearsed my delivery. This wasn't anger. It was revenge. Cold, calculated, perfectly executed. The night in Helen's guest room is sleepless. Every time I close my eyes, I see my mother's face. My dad charging at me. Those blank pages on the floor. Around 8, Helen calls me. It's Lauren, my best friend. She's seen the videos spreading on Instagram. She's coming over. After my shower, I turn on my phone. 67 texts. 23 missed calls. The group chat has over 100 messages. Marcus's are the worst because they're not angry, they're confused and hurt. Why would you ruin their special day? There are videos everywhere. Mom won't stop crying. Dad is saying things I've never heard. I listen to my voicemails. My mother's is mostly crying. How could you? How could you do this to us? My father's is cold. Do not contact us again until you're ready to get on your knees and apologize. You are not welcome until you're ready to beg forgiveness. I realize there's no going back. I'd succeeded in making them feel what I felt. Now I had to accept being the villain. Lauren arrives with Chinese takeout and wine. She waits for me to talk. When I finish telling her everything, she asks, "What did you think would happen after?" I realize I hadn't thought past the speech, past their faces when they realized I was using their joke against them. She understands why I did it, but she warns me, families don't forget public humiliation. The consequences will be worse than I imagined. The next morning, my gallery owner calls. Her voice is careful, worried. She's heard about the family drama. Someone posted videos and word is spreading in the art community. She's concerned this might affect my reputation. I'd won a major competition, had a show coming up. Collectors and gallery owners talk. I hadn't considered my personal life exploding would impact my career. She's not canceling anything, but people are asking questions. I should keep a low profile. I'd barely leave my apartment for 3 days. Then Marcus shows up unannounced, Wednesday afternoon. He looks exhausted. He walks in without invitation, goes straight to my couch, sits heavily. Jessica is angry. Their kids are asking why Grandma and Grandpa are crying. Marcus runs his hands through his hair. You made everything complicated for everyone. I push back. I ask if he ever noticed how differently they treated me. He looks surprised I'm fighting back. Says he noticed, but thought I was strong enough to handle their sense of humor. I laugh, ugly, humorless. I ask how I was supposed to handle years of being told I wasn't theirs, having my boyfriend leave, winning a competition, and having them make that joke in front of the presenter. Marcus says he didn't think it was that bad. When only one person is laughing, it's not humor. It's cruelty disguised as jokes. We talk for almost 2 hours. Our first real conversation about our childhoods. Marcus admits he always felt pressure to be perfect because of how they treated me. He thought if he was good enough, they'd ease up on me, but it never worked. He tells me about lying awake, terrified of disappointing them, choosing business school over history, which he loved. I never knew that. For years, I thought he was the favorite who didn't have to work for anything. Marcus pauses at my door before leaving. Jessica says you're not welcome at family events until this gets resolved. Until you apologize. My heart sinks. I think about Lily and Jacob, my niece and nephew, 7 and 5 years old. After he leaves, I cry on my floor. Not because I regret what I did, but because I'm realizing the cost. I expected to lose my parents, not my brother's family too. Helen calls 2 days later. My parents are controlling the narrative. She was at a cousin's birthday party where they were holding court. They're telling everyone I had a mental breakdown. They're worried about me. I've always been sensitive. I'm going through things. They're rewriting events, making themselves the victims with a troubled daughter. My mother cried about not knowing what she did wrong. My father suggested I need therapy. Helen is furious but couldn't stand up at the party and tell the truth. My cousin Emma messages, asking to hear my side. I type everything out. Every childhood joke. The presenter's expression. Ethan breaking up with me. The anniversary party. I send it to Emma and 2 other cousins I trust. Emma says she always thought the jokes were cruel, but didn't think it was her place to say anything. Daniel says he cringed at family dinners, but assumed I could handle it. Sophia writes back that I went too far. Parents aren't perfect, but public humiliation was harsh. I owe them an apology. I close my laptop and realize nothing will ever be the same. I can't sleep for 4 nights straight. I keep replaying the party. My mother going white. My father shouting. Guests recording everything. By the 4th night, I know I need help. A therapist has an opening. I tell her everything. Childhood through the anniversary party. She asks what I wanted from the fake evidence. I tell her I wanted them to understand. Then I stop, because what I really wanted was for them to feel rejected and unloved the way they made me feel. I wanted them humiliated publicly. The therapist nods and writes something down. 3 weeks later, my father emails. His lawyer's office sends a cold email with legal letterhead. They've removed me from there, immediately. I read it twice, then I laugh. Unexpected, hysterical laughter. They've written me out of the will. Their ultimate joke. I laugh until I cry. Lauren helps me pack up family photos the next day. I go through them one by one, putting most in the garbage bag. I keep one photo of Helen and me at my art exhibition. I keep one of Marcus and me as kids, building something with blocks. Before things got complicated, the gallery owner calls the next week. A collector interested in one of my pieces backed out after hearing about my stability issues. He didn't want to invest in an artist with personal drama. I'm furious that my personal life is impacting the work I built separately from my family. Marcus texts inviting me to family therapy with our parents. I actually laugh. My parents admitting they need therapy is absurd. They always said therapy was for weak people. I text back that I'll think about it. Helen calls that night. She's exhausted from being caught in the middle. My parents won't speak to her because she won't stop talking to me. She says she chose sides years ago when she watched how they treated me. She's not abandoning me because it got difficult. I run into Jessica at the grocery store 2 weeks later. Awkward doesn't begin to describe it. We both freeze in the produce section. She has a cart full of kid snacks. I have depressing, single-person groceries. She says Marcus is stressed trying to keep peace. She wishes I'd just apologize so things could go back to normal. When I ask if she wants to hear my story, she hesitates, then backs away with her cart. Says she needs to support her husband. She can't do that if she understands my side too well. She leaves me alone and produce. My next therapy session focuses on why I chose public humiliation over private confrontation. The therapist asks why I didn't talk to them first. I wanted witnesses. I wanted people to see them squirm the way I squirmed at that award ceremony. I wanted everyone who laughed at their jokes to see them embarrassed. I needed validation that I wasn't crazy or overly sensitive. The therapist asks if it worked. I say yes and no. I felt good for maybe 30 seconds before everything fell apart. 2 days later, I see my cousin Emma's Facebook post. I'm not named, but it's obvious. Sometimes pride matters less than family. Real family endures hardship and forgives. Relatives agree in the comments. I block Emma. Then I block her mother. I block 2 other relatives. As my finger hovers over each block button, I notice something strange. I'm okay. Not hurt or angry. Just done. Done with people who think I should silently endure years of mistreatment. A smaller social circle makes me feel lighter, not sadder. Ethan messages me unexpectedly that week. He says mutual friends told him about the party. He writes a long message about feeling sorry for leaving. He understood the jokes bothered me, but couldn't handle it anymore. He felt terrible about choosing his peace over me. I write back that I don't blame him. You can't fix someone else's family problems. Closing the message thread, I feel better about the breakup. Marcus texts with a message from our parents. I can talk to them again if I apologize publicly on Facebook. They want me to admit I lied and embarrass them. It has to be public, so everyone who saw the party drama can see me apologize. I read it again to make sure I understand. They want me to humiliate myself the way I humiliated them. I text Marcus immediately, no. I tell him I won't admit I was wrong when they spent my entire life making me feel unwanted. In my next therapy session, the therapist says something that makes me uncomfortable. Both things can be true. Their jokes were cruel and my revenge was wrong. I can be their victim and still be responsible for my actions. I argue with her for 10 minutes. I want to be perfect. I want to be completely right. She lets me argue, then asks me to think about it. I spend weeks thinking about being hurt and causing hurt, about them being bad parents and me still responding poorly. It's the hardest thing from therapy to accept. Lauren invites me to her family's Thanksgiving. I almost decline, but I realize this is my first Thanksgiving without my parents, and I don't want to be alone. Her parents hug me like an old friend. The house smells like turkey and pie. Nobody makes jokes about me being different. Nobody criticizes my choices. Lauren's mother asks about my sculptures and actually listens. Her dad tells a sweet story about Lauren that isn't mean. After dinner, I go to the bathroom and cry because this is what family meals could be. I hadn't realized what I'd been missing. Marcus calls on my birthday morning. He doesn't mention the mess. He asks how I'm doing, tells me Jacob learned to ride a bike. We talk about normal things for 20 minutes. It's the most natural conversation we've had in months. That afternoon, my mother leaves a voicemail. She says she's been thinking about me on my birthday. She misses me. Hope rises in my chest. Then she says she's been looking at anniversary party photos. How happy everyone was before I ruined it. She hopes I'm pleased with myself. She couldn't even wish me happy birthday without making it about what I did to her. I block her number. Helen calls a week later. My parents are having marital problems. They're fighting over who's at fault for the party disaster. My father thinks my mother should have been more careful with her jokes. My mother says my father laughed hardest. They're each rewriting history to blame each other. Helen says neither can take responsibility. Listening to her describe their fights, I feel nothing. Just emptiness, like hearing about strangers. The gallery owner calls about a commission. A tech startup wants a large sculpture for their headquarters. Big budget, creative freedom, career boosting project. After hanging up, I immediately want to call my parents. I reach for my dad's number before remembering I can't. We're not speaking. He wrote me out of the will. Mom's number is blocked. That's when I understand this is grief. Grieving relationships with living people who are now completely disconnected from me. At my next therapy appointment, the therapist asks if I've thought about reconciliation. I sit there trying to figure out what I actually need from them. She gives me paper. I write genuine apology at the top. Acknowledge harm. Respect boundaries. Change behavior. I write until I have 10 items. When I look at them, my chest feels heavy. They can't do it. My parents can't apologize without justifications. They can't acknowledge harm without minimizing it. The therapist nods like she's been waiting for me to realize that a meaningful relationship with them might not be possible. Marcus texts inviting me to Jacob's birthday party. Jessica will let me come if I promise not to cause trouble. I'm angry they think I need that condition, but I miss the kids so badly it hurts. I reply saying I'll be there. Saturday afternoon, I bring Jacob an art set. When I walk in, the atmosphere shifts. Jessica smiles without warmth, watching me like I might explode. I play with the kids, help Jacob unwrap presents, sing happy birthday. Every conversation is about weather or traffic. Jessica's parents barely acknowledge me. After 2 hours, the tension is so thick I can't breathe. I tell Marcus I have to leave early. Marcus texts that night. The kids loved having me there. Jacob kept asking when I'd visit again. He says he's trying to maintain relationships with both me and our parents. Every time he talks to me, they ask if I've apologized yet. He feels trapped. 2 days later, Marcus forwards messages from our parents. They found out I was at the birthday party, and they're furious with him. My mother writes that I'm a bad influence. My father says they're disappointed in Marcus. They're trying to force Marcus to cut me out completely. It's not enough that they're not speaking to me. They need everyone else to reject me too. My next therapy session focuses on why they made those jokes for so long. I work through it out loud. They were insecure about their own lives. I was different from them in every way, and instead of accepting me, they rejected me. The jokes weren't about me. My parents spent my entire childhood making me feel unwanted because they couldn't handle their own insecurity. That doesn't make the hurt disappear, but it helps me see them as flawed people instead of monsters. I become less angry and more sad. Sad I'll never have the parents I wanted. Sad we wasted so much time. Lauren plans a weekend trip to a small coastal town. We walk on the beach, stay up late talking about everything except my family, my art career, my friendships. My life exists because I worked for it without their approval. They didn't give me anything that mattered. I created my own path and succeeded on my own terms. That feels powerful. Helen calls when we return. My parents want to meet with me. Just the 3 of us. She thinks they might be ready to talk, but warns me not to expect too much. I spend 3 days deciding. Almost say no at least 3 times. But finally, I decide I need to hear what they have to say. I text Helen, saying I'll meet them at a neutral coffee shop. Saturday morning, I arrive early and choose a table in the back corner. My hands shake ordering coffee. I spill some on the counter. My parents arrive exactly at 10, both looking older than I remember. My mother's eyes are puffy. My father's jaw is tight. My mother starts crying immediately. My father clears his throat twice. He says they've been thinking about everything. They never meant to hurt me. They thought I understood they were joking. My mother nods, saying she was shocked when I did that because she believed I knew they loved me. I feel my chest tighten because they still aren't getting it. My father says he was hurt that I lied and embarrassed them. Their friends have been calling asking if everything's okay. I start listing everything. The restaurant at 8. Every dinner, holiday, every time they introduce me with that joke. My mother keeps interrupting to explain what they meant. I snap. Intentions don't matter when you spend years making your kid feel unwanted. Impact is what counts. I tell them about nights crying in my room, wondering what was wrong with me. My father is quiet for a long time, staring at his hands. Finally, he says they were probably too hard on me because I was so different. They didn't understand why. He says they didn't know how to connect with a kid who liked art and books when they were about sports and business. It's not an apology, but it's the first time he's ever admitted fault. I tell them I can't have a relationship where I'm the punchline, where my differences are treated like defects. They look uncomfortable. My mother says she'll try to do better. She didn't realize how much the jokes bother me. My father suggests family therapy together. They've been seeing someone individually. I'm surprised they went to therapy at all. I tell them I won't promise anything, but I'll give therapy a chance. Walking out feels strange. Nothing is resolved, but maybe something small has shifted. The first family therapy session, 2 weeks later, is brutal. My parents spend the entire hour defending themselves. My mother explains the jokes were just their family's humor. My father says I've always been sensitive. The therapist constantly redirects them, asking them to focus on my experience. I leave exhausted, wondering if it's worth it. The second session goes better. The therapist sets ground rules about listening. She asks my father directly why he made jokes about me not being his kid. He pauses, then says something unexpected. He admits the jokes came from feeling disconnected from me. When I was little, he tried bonding over sports like he did with Marcus, but I wasn't interested. He didn't know how to relate to a daughter who wanted to read and make art. So he joked about that disconnect, even though he knew it was wrong. I can see him struggling to say it. I realize he'd been struggling too, just differently. My mother has a harder time. She spends sessions 3 and 4 deflecting. Finally, in the 5th session, she admits something surprising. She felt threatened by my independence and creativity. Watching me succeed at art made her feel inadequate. The jokes were her way of feeling less small. The therapist helps her see she'd been projecting her own insecurity onto me. It doesn't fix everything, but it helps me understand the jokes truly weren't about me. After 3 months of weekly therapy, my parents are slowly changing. My mother calls twice just to ask how I'm doing. My father sends me an article about a sculptor in a magazine. These small gestures feel enormous after years of nothing. Our monthly dinners with the therapist present help us avoid falling into old patterns. It's slow and painful. Old habits keep resurfacing, but we keep trying. Marcus sounds relieved we're talking again. Jessica warms up to me after months. When the kids see me, they run up and hug me. Jacob wants to show me his bike. Lily wants to show me her room. Watching them laugh reminds me why enduring therapy is worth it. 6 months into therapy, I invite my parents to my next gallery showing. I don't expect them to come, but they arrive 20 minutes after the opening, looking uncomfortable. They hover near the entrance like they might bolt. I watch them from across the room. They actually stop and look at my sculptures. Really look. My mother pulls out her phone to photograph one piece. My father stands in front of my award-winning sculpture for almost 5 minutes. When an older couple asks him about it, he tells them I'm his daughter, that he's proud of my work. He doesn't make jokes about me not being his real kid. Doesn't wish I'd done something else. I have to excuse myself to the bathroom because I feel tears coming. Helen sees me and hugs me without saying anything. She tells me she'd spent years worrying about me. Watching my parents treat me like a mistake. Seeing us all in the same room being civil. Watching my father tell strangers he's proud of me. It means more than I understand. After an hour, my parents leave. My mother hugs me goodbye. My father shakes my hand and says it was a good show. It's not warm or comfortable, but it's different, and that matters. My parents will never fully understand my art or my choices. Years of feeling unwanted won't disappear, but we've established basic respect and boundaries. They catch themselves when they start making jokes now. It's more than I expected 6 months ago. I'm building a life that includes them in limited ways while prioritizing my chosen family. Lauren attends every gallery opening. Helen calls me twice a week. My cousins who supported me have become closer friends. I see my parents once a month for supervised dinners. I attend some family events where I can leave if needed. I've accepted this as our relationship. It'll never be what I wanted as a child, but it's something. The revenge at their anniversary party destroyed the toxic dynamic where they could joke about me and I was supposed to accept it. The aftermath was brutal and messy. I lost some family members, but it forced necessary conversations. Conversations that were 26 years overdue. I'm finally okay with being myself. Making art that matters to me. Building relationships with people who actually see me. My parents won't ever be the parents I needed growing up, but maybe they can be different going forward. And if they can't, I've learned I'll survive that too. I have people who love me for exactly who I am. I have a career I built without their approval. I have a life that's mine. That's enough. Sometimes being enough for yourself is the only victory that matters.